Boom, ladies and gentlemen, we're ready for another live episode of the Business Bros. And if you're worried about marketing because it's something you got to do, but maybe you're not knowing where to do it, how to do it, or how much it's going to cost, then this episode is for you. Let's get this one on the road. Here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
Look, a business can give you everything you want in life: prestige, wealth, freedom. It can also take everything away from you. This show is for those who are willing to take that risk. These are the real life stories of entrepreneurs. But before we start, I have one small favor to ask. Please leave a comment. It can be advice, critiques, tips, feedback, or share this with someone because your engagement is the most valuable and most powerful form of social currency. So thank you, and welcome to another episode of Business Bros. All right, I bet that most entrepreneurs out there have had this thought: marketing is too expensive and too time consuming. Right? I mean, we've all had that. Well, today we have a guest here to share some marketing tactics and techniques that are free and or low costing ways to make your marketing much easier. So if you're looking for a way to jumpstart your sales, and you're going to want to hear this ready-made marketing strategy on today's episode, let's welcome to the show from BersonDeanStevens.com, Miss Lori Berson. Lori, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on today.
Of course, marketing. It's one of those things that I think a lot of businesses dread, mainly because they're really good at what they do. If they're plumbers, they're really good at doing that one thing. Construction workers, really good at doing that one thing. Accountants and so forth. But marketing their business, that might be a little tough. How'd you get into this space, and how are you making it easy for them?
Well, got into it. I've been in the marketing realm for years and years, over 25 years, creating revenue generating strategies, concepts for, clients in a myriad of industries, everybody from financial services with Charles Schwab to Dole Food Company, selling pineapples, and marketing, Hot Pockets, and also working in the entertainment industry. Did a lot of work with Seinfeld as well as motion pictures and things like that. So kind of run the gamut with in a bunch of different industries. But my co-author and I, Yvonne Rosen, at the start of COVID, we noticed that there was a definite need to help small businesses and independent contractors, market themselves. And as you mentioned, it's like their focus is on their business, and marketing can sometimes take a back seat, which of course affects sales. So we wanted to help out and to help them jumpstart sales. And we wrote the book Ready Made Marketing, and it's full of tactics and templates. They're all customizable, as well as over 400 technology resources, most of them free. Because the other problem too is everybody's got, budgets. Even the Fortune 500 companies, they all have budgets too. But the smaller ones, tighter budgets, of course. And then with COVID and the downturn, and now with recession coming on, or for some already here, it's a way that they could get marketing advice easily, and didn't have to hire a marketing firm. So
yeah, it gets ridiculously expensive. So you've been in this thing for 25 years, which is amazing, and you learned how to market a show about nothing. So if you can market a show about nothing, that develops some amazing skills. By the way, that's Seinfeld for all you younger people,
right?
So let's talk about that entrepreneur that's getting started. They're in the space. They know they got to go out and get more clients. And the problem is, once you get into this space, you realize that everybody is offering you some sort of solution. Look over here, lead generation. Look over here, conversion. Look over here. You're bombarded with marketing language, first of all, that you need to learn. And then second, who's doing a good job at what they're doing? Everybody can say they're doing some marketing, but what does that actually mean? What is marketing?
I know it's basically selling, it's one to many, where sales is more one to one. And now with account-based marketing, you do have the opportunity to go to one to few. So you can, more finely target. But basically it's, one to many, and using various channels. And nowadays we have way more channels than, we used to. And we employ a lot of them, of course, social media, and video messaging, video marketing, and we train our clients on that. I'm doing another, we're both doing another webinar next week on social selling and how to use that, because some of the channels have gotten really tired. And then also with people still working from home, or even ones in the office, they don't pick up their phone. So cold calls, people are less and less receptive to them because they're bombarded. But so different avenues to kind of get around, some of the stuff that doesn't work. And there's so many things out there. And so we help people figure out what tools to use and how to approach, their target market.
Let's talk about the different channels that are out there, because there are different opportunities. Plus, we got Yvonne here on our chat giving us some little heads up on what we should be talking about, right? So let's talk about the channels, because I know, for example, when I first got into real estate space, direct mail was huge. This is what everybody was doing. When I had my very first computer repair company, we were sending flyers on those. Every Tuesday you get all that junk mail. Well, we were part of that junk mail, right? And then, email started to come out, and you started switching over to email campaigns and drip campaigns. But I'm finding that direct mail has almost found its way back. Like, it's almost like we've forgotten about it so much that it becomes one of those channels that all of a sudden, if you use it correctly, could be something that really works out. What are some of the channels that you're using today that are maybe dated and some that are really working well?
Well, you bring up a great point, because direct mail, years ago we used it a lot. And one of the difficult things is direct mail is way more expensive than email, because email is super cheap, pennies, and the return on investment with email is still really, really high. But what's really nice these days with direct mail, there's new technologies that integrate the direct mail with your CRM, like Salesforce, your customer relationship management platform. So it makes it much, much easier. Direct mail is still kind of expensive, but if done right and done with an ABM sort of process, it's really, really effective. So that's, one that's, like you mentioned, made a resurgence, but now with these new tools, it's much easier. Social selling is huge. And, in terms of engagement, on engaging with people on social, not just doing the direct message, here's my stuff, buy from me, the hard pitches, that doesn't work, because no one really wants to be sold to. But doing engaging types of comments, as well as doing a consistent cadence of posts. And then what we found also is using a multi-channel strategy is the best, because you're always going to have some people who like the phone, some people who like email, some people who like social, and others that don't like, other channels. So one of the things I'll just touch on with direct mail is these days, you may not have home addresses. So one of the platforms we use is Sendoso, and it's combined with email. So you can actually do an address confirmation through their platform, and then make sure you're getting it to the right person. But hopefully that.
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, and that's an avenue, right? And these are tools that we can use. And that's one of the things that I liked about when I read about what you guys are doing. You guys have a book out, and most marketing books are all about strategy, whereas yours is more about tactics, things that we can actually implement versus theoretical. Right? Yeah. I can read this and put this into action right now and start seeing results. Tell me about the book.
We've got, I'll do a little show and tell. Wait, let me see if that gets on the camera. But so ready-made marketing. And basically we've got two main sections. And the first one is we give you, everything from outreach best practices and templates, all customizable templates, everything from cold emails to warm emails, follow-up, re-engagement, goodbye emails. We got video messaging, how to conduct panels, get on a panel, how to do podcasts, webinars. And then we've got LinkedIn best practices, because most of it is B2B. So we do focus mostly on LinkedIn in the book, and best practices and templates. So bottom line is, everybody, it's a little disconcerting when you go and you see a blank computer screen or blank page and you have to write an email, or you've got to come up with a video script or something. We give you everything to get going. So it's super simple to just plug in your stuff and you'll be done in 2 seconds. The other part of the book, like I mentioned, is over 400 technology resources. And the goal was to get stuff that is free or very low cost, because obviously budgets are, a concern for everybody. And on the technology resources, we've got everything from CRMs, customer relationship management, like a Salesforce, to content marketing resources, intent data. Nowadays, you can get, and I don't know if you've heard about this, Hernan, but you can get intent data. So who is actually looking for what you do? You can get weekly emails for free that tells you what companies are looking for your services. And it's super cool. And that kind of stuff. We've got, oh my gosh, email marketing platforms, and we've designated 2 of the technologies in each category that we recommend. And all of them have been vetted. I could go on and on with all the technology. I get all excited, but anyway. So
we got a user question here, and I'm sure this comes from Senator Porter because he's the one who always comments from this group.
Okay.
He asked about, what is an ABM process?
Oh, it's really when you get your targeted list, it has to do with pulling together the sales team and the marketing, having them work hand in hand, and getting a highly targeted list, and then focusing your efforts on that list. And you kind of do it in a tiered process. At least that's what I do, where you've got your, super high value targets as well as the next group. And I can, get more information, because I could go on for a while, but it's just a very more targeted method, as well as bringing in, it's not just marketing going off in their silo and doing everything, but marketing is working hand in hand with sales. And
so it's less of a shotgun approach and more of a laser approach to your marketing. So exactly. if I was going to think of direct mail, for example, rather than just straight coding an entire zip code, you're focusing your attention on people who actually have either communicated or showed some sort of intent in your sales process, so that it's something they're expecting versus something that they randomly show up in the mail.
That, as well as you do thorough research on your targets. So you want to make sure their firmographics, demographic, psychographic, all of that stuff matches up to your ideal target in terms of, what's their dollar amount, their gross income, and putting that all together and targeting those people. So, yeah.
Let's go back to being omnipresent, right? Because this is one of those things that any marketer can really do. It's something that we preach on our show all the time. You should have, if you're in business, you should have a podcast. You should be creating content at scale to show up on all these platforms, mainly because you don't know where your customer is actually spending their time, whether they're on a desktop, whether they're on a laptop, whether they're on TikTok, Facebook, whatever it is. So being accessible to all these different places is important. Now, you mentioned that in your book, you have templates, which is super fantastic, because I don't know about you guys, I'm a math guy. I suck at writing. So if you can provide me with a template where I just fill in the blanks, then I can go ahead and record stuff. That makes it so much easier. Tell me about recording videos, because I get a lot of people all the time. They're like, I would like to do that, but I'm kind of shy. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I sound. What do you tell those people?
Well, we've got production tips on how to look best on camera, how to position, the camera, what to wear, so a whole list of production tips to start with. And then we've got, like we mentioned, video scripts based on what you want to achieve, what your goals are. And then how to, where to put those. So there's a couple different platforms. Free ones are like Vidyard and Loom, where you can actually record your videos. You can do some minor editing on them. So you don't have to be a super video editing wizard, because that could get into a whole other thing. But if you are more comfortable with that, you can get into Final Cut Pro to edit those, or you can do a screen share. One of the cool things about Vidyard and Loom is you can actually, for cold or warm calls or whatever you want to do, if you want to video a message to someone, you can put the recipient's website behind you or their LinkedIn profile behind you, and then you show up in a bubble in either the bottom, or you can expand it. And because bottom line is, it's about them. It shouldn't be, about you when you do your outreach. So we give all those tips on, what to say in videos, how to produce them, what platforms are best to use. And Yeah. So it makes it much, much easier and less everyone, the more you do it, the easier it gets. So I would recommend, because a lot of us are shy in camera and a little, you feel a little bit awkward at first, but the more you do it, it becomes a no-brainer.
James mentioned about the ABM. He said it's like social media targeting tools, but for direct mail. That's cool. Didn't even know that was available. Right? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. How do I find these tools? How do I make them available? So you have so many different things in this book, practical, tactical things that people can use. Of
Right.
all the different tactics that are in there, which one would you say is your favorite that you just kind of like tend to gravitate to, that when people ask you like, what should I do in my business? You're like, here's the one.
That's a great question. I wish there was just one. So I kind of love, because the research part of it is really important before you actually use some of these tactics. So I personally love the intent data, because because people always research before they talk to anybody or, reach out to someone. They're always researching what they want to buy or what they want to do online. So let's say you've got a small business, most likely they're going to go online and look at, okay, what marketing agencies are there? What should I do? How do I market my business? So with intent data, when you get these surge alerts, it tells you who's looking and it gives you their website. And then you go and research, okay, who's at that company. And I just love that for being super targeted and more relevant in terms of who you're hitting up. So, and what you do with these intent data platforms, you put in your keywords. So it's not just going to give you, hundreds of companies that have nothing to do with you. You actually tell it, what you're looking for. So
And
I love that.
is it just one intent like data provider, or is it multiple?
Yeah, there's a couple. Bombora is a really popular one, and they offer a free service, and they give you a weekly list of 12 companies searching for your topics. And then Clearbit is another one that recently has a free service as well, and they'll show you who's hitting up your website. So it comes from a little different angle. So you could see what's great about that is if you're running, you're putting social posts up there, you're running some email campaigns, you can see who's going from that and visiting your website, and it gives full background on them. And those are also free weekly reports.
That's amazing. I mean, think about that for a second, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you're literally not even really having to market. These people are already looking for what you're doing. That's essentially, you're getting almost a closed deal, a hot lead coming in, and it's not even anything that you're doing for the outbound stuff, right? This is stuff that's coming into you.
It's all coming in, and the best, it's free. So, you don't have to pay for these. They do obviously have other plans that are, they can be, one of them's, a starter plan like 25,000, but you're getting this, for free. So you're right. It's already people in market looking for what you do. So of course they're going to be more interested when you reach out to them. And then, with our templates, makes it so much easier. You're all set.
What's the biggest feedback you get from people who take a look at your book? They're maybe starting off in business and they're afraid of the marketing side, never done it. Maybe they're not great at sales. Maybe they're just worried about, how do I create something that looks cool, put my picture on there, add some photos, not very tech savvy. Like, how do you approach someone like that to get them comfortable with the ability of, yes, you can do this on your own?
Well, the people that, have purchased the book, most of them are, it's like, I wish I had this book years ago, because it's really abbreviated the whole process. And most of them use it as a reference book. So it's not really like, a novel where you read cover to cover and you have to learn all this stuff. The best part about it is you just go in, get what you need, and you're ready to roll. And it's thousands of dollars of marketing expertise for less than the cost of, a week's worth of Starbucks, which is the cool part. So people, I think, have been so surprised because they haven't found this type of resource that doesn't, only focus on strategy. I mean, we believe in strategy as well, but we also want people, to give them a jump start and really get them going. So
is there an order that you would place for somebody who's going to start marketing their business? Like, what's the first thing you do? What's the next thing you do? What's that process like? Or do we just kind of go through the book and pick and choose some and kind of, decide from there?
Yeah, you could do either or, but I would always say the first thing you want to do is, okay, look at, what resources you do have. So if it's just you as a business owner and you're going to be doing it, okay, how much time do you want to devote to it? And also, if you need to sign up for an email platform if you're not already on one. So what money do you have and what time do you have? And then who do you want to target and what are your goals? So those are the things to really look at. And once you determine that, then you just dive in and, use our templates, and you're all set.
Where are you guys today? Berson, Dean Stevens, where are you guys today, and where do you envision this company going?
The company's been around for, over 25 years, and we have been super fortunate, and we're extremely busy, and we work in most of the industries that we work in right now are financial services and health insurance. And so we're kind of staying in that space, although, we've done everything, like I mentioned, for consumer packaged goods with Dole and Driscoll's Berries and Hot Pockets and all that. So we do everything from packaging to website revitalization. Bottom line is whatever will help a company, sell their products and services. That's what we help them with. So the book was basically an adjunct to help, smaller entities, do it on their own. And we are there available, if they're ready for the next step and they want to go for, a full program, we're definitely available.
So you've kind of alluded to it there, what your ideal client is, but I'm assuming, the book that you have in place is to get people into a position where they're ready to work with you. How will a client know that they're ready to move up to that next level?
Mostly because they're going to see return on, what they're doing, return on investment, and it'll actually be super high because the investment is so little. So I think the book is like $27.95 or something like that. But when they've gotten beyond what's available in the book, that's when they'll be ready for us. And when they want to take it to the next level in terms of, generating larger programs, and more involved programs, as you mentioned, with drip, lead nurturing and drip programs, and implement marketing automation. I mean, some of it they can do on their own, but it is, I find, much easier. Just like they focus on their business, it's faster and more efficient to have people that do automation like us day in and day out come in, set them up, get them going. So, yeah.
There's been some major technology changes, especially since COVID hit. But some of those marketing fundamentals still ring true, right? So, right. What are some of the major changes that you've seen that have drastically modified how companies are marketing? And what are some of those core fundamentals that we should stick to?
I think the major change came from no in-person, events, meetings. So it made it really hard for salespeople to connect. And, as everyone knows, the change to, video and online, all that kind of stuff. So that, and more digital. So that's been more of the change. And what's really nice is, all these technologies that make it so easy. And what was the other, sorry, but the other end of the question?
So what are some of those core fundamental things that we do in marketing that have, lasted over time?
I would say, obviously the strategy is core to, knowing, who you are, what your goals are, what you have to work with, and, where you want to be. And core fundamentals, I always think too, creative is super important. I know I get excited with technology. My background is kind of on the creative side, even though I've kind of moved over to tech. But I think we all forget how important the creative is in differentiating your products and services. Because nowadays, a lot of people are doing kind of similar stuff. So it's more and more difficult to differentiate. And that's where creative and working with a creative agency like ours, is really, really helpful and beneficial. So I think those are the core. And the other thing too is the analytics and measuring. So, and data going in, especially, if you're doing email and going after, digitally, you want to keep track of your data, even with direct mail, who's responding and what's your return on investment. And then, testing and tweaking and enhancing and optimizing.
Yvonne says marketing is getting the right message to the right people. And I 100% agree. And in today's world, I feel like everybody's starting to build their own brand. How important is having a brand or having a core message that you can get out to your public?
I think it's critical, and it really comes down to what I just mentioned in terms of differentiation, because that's what the branding helps you do, both visually as well as in copy and everything else. So yeah, I think branding is important, but I'd say and awareness and all that kind of stuff. But beyond that is getting the word out as well.
Getting your message out the best you possibly can.
Right.
No, I always wonder when I talk to marketers, especially when they're talking to professionals like attorneys, CPAs, real estate brokers, those types of people, right? They're building their brand, they're building their name. And I always get mixed messages. Keep it 100% professional. Mix in some of your personal life. What do you think? Like, what's a strategy that you've seen with your clients? Is it a mix of the two? Is it strictly one professional, have your own personal separate? What do you think?
That's a great question, because I've seen more lately people interjecting some of their personal stuff, and some of it goes into the politics or things like that too. And then, I've got clients that don't want to go anywhere near that. They don't want to have any photos. They don't want any personal info. Some is for privacy and safety reasons. So I think if you if you interject the personal info, it's nice to kind of have a business slant and to not go too far. But again, it's a nice way to let people get to know you versus, getting you mixed up. Let's say you're an attorney. So could be confusing because there's so many attorneys out there. So a little bit of personal, interjecting some of that can be a really good thing in a tasteful way.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit of identity. You stand out amongst the crowd a little bit.
Exactly.
I got an attorney right here, the Bulldog. So in San Diego, Dan Fulkerson and the Battle Fulkerson group, they're big, and they're always giving back to the community. Every Christmas, they do all the radio drives. They donate diapers or toys. Right. They're always out there doing events for food banks and just getting their brand out there that I'm here to help. And I feel like, having a brand, and I like how Yvonne says it here, your brand is the promise you make to your clients and prospects. You promise to deliver what you say you will every time. And I think that's really what it comes down to, your customer service or your dedication to your community or your tribe, just right. Being able to be a part of them on a regular basis. Before we head out, I want to make sure people can, where can they get the book? How can they get a hold of you?
Well, they can get it on Amazon.com. And if they just in the search bar, just type in Ready Made Marketing, it'll go right to the page on Amazon. Or they can go to Berson, Dean & Stevens and they'll find it on the website as well. There's a page there. So be great.
Perfect. All right, ladies and gents, look, really what it comes down to, you got to get in front of people and tell them what it is you do somehow, some way. And there are a number of different ways that you can do that. Now, if you have no clue where to start, it'd probably be a good idea to go to BersonDeanStevens.com. Check out what they're already doing. Number of different practical, tactical ways that you can get started in marketing for free or at a very low cost. So make sure you guys go check it out. BersonDeanStevens.com. It's scrolling across the bottom of the page. Yeah, go check it out or look for the book on Amazon, Ready Made Marketing. Download it. Do you guys have it on audio, by the way?
It's not, but it's on Kindle. So it's on Kindle. Paperback or Kindle. Yeah.
Perfect. So grab a copy, start putting some tactics into play. Look, at the end of the day, if you just learn some stuff, that's great. But it's not until you take action, till you start to implement the things that you learn where you're going to see a difference. So here's my cue to you. Take some action. BersonDeanStevens.com or go to Amazon and just get the book right there, Ready Made Marketing. Lori, thank you very much for coming on. I'm so sad we didn't have Yvonne on, had some tech issues, but she was here in spirit and literally in the chat guiding our discussion. So that was awesome. Lori, I got one more question for you.
Sure.
You help out people create podcasts all the time, create different types of shows and marketing campaigns. What was your experience like with the Business Bros?
Loved it. Absolutely. It was a great experience. I love your energy and I had a great time. And thank you so much for having me and almost Yvonne on. So thank you.
Of course. All right, ladies and gents, make sure you guys check it out. BersonDeanStevens.com. The book is called Ready Made Marketing. It's got over, what did she say, 400 different technology resources to bring your tactics to life. You're out of excuses. It's done. It's over. The knowledge is there. The practical, tactical things are ready for you to take into action. So make it happen. We'll catch you guys on the next episode. Until then, peace. And we're out.
It's over. Go home.
Is your business in need of marketing? Try starting a podcast. But not just any podcast. Podcast like a pro. We can show you how to take your business from being invisible to becoming a brand people trust. Go to www.businessbros.com.